Good morning everyone, welcome back and Happy New Year. We're going to ease our way back into the markets. So we're starting off here on EU on the daily. So what's the daily chart showing us today? Well, we've clearly started off very bullish, right? You can see we've blasted for our previous daily high and we're pretty much an engulfing candle like we was on Friday as well. So there seems to be some sort of possible pullback from all this bearish price action. Now if I analyze the larger picture here, you can see we are still bearish on the daily, making lower lows, lower highs, right? We're having impulsive bearish breakdowns, these corrective pullbacks, right, back to sort of a premium area. You see this sweep of buy side liquidity, break down again. Now we're pulling back with a bit more aggression, but again back towards a premium where we may find some sort of resistance and continue making lower lows. So we'll see how that goes. If I zoom out for a moment, you can see we have been taking a lot of sell side liquidity, so it makes sense to have some sort of pullback and a possible next liquidity target of this low here, which is also just below that previous weekly low and the low of this structure here. So good target if we do begin to break down again to come for these lows for a good source of sell side liquidity. Similar of course on DXY, right, making these highs and then higher highs again. Being the first full week of January, we have quite a few bits of news as well coming this month and this NFP week. So with that in mind, let's go down to the 4 hour. Let's see what that looks like. So on the 4 hour, nothing too surprising, right? Just a more clearer version of the story the daily is telling us. We can see those bearish breakdowns, corrective bullish pullbacks, breakdowns again. So we can see we have this bearish leg here. We had some SMC divergence while we swept this buy side liquidity up here towards the end of December. Of course, we didn't sweep that low on DXY, which is why we had that divergence. And then we continued to break down. You can see these internal legs here, which may be more of hourly legs as to how price broke down coming into the new year. Right, so you can see that my first higher time frame POY is here. Right, we have this 4 hour order block here of these 3 candles. Price has now pulled up into that. Right, you can see we had a lot of momentum of course this morning and we have moved really impulsively into this zone here. So this is my first zone. We have another zone just above here. Right, we have the same zones on DXY as well for support. Right, we have this imbalance with order block and then the same imbalance with order block below, just like we do above. So 2 possible zones of resistance, right, 2 POIs. People may ask, how do you know which one to use? Well, we don't. We're waiting for price to break down from one of these. So it's either going to break down from here or it's not, right? So as long as we break down from this zone here, I can use this as resistance and look for opportunities from there to pull back into the gap that it's likely to leave behind in this zone here. So we were quite corrective until today, but now we're into my POI that I've been looking for price to pull back to, which is good, okay, to possibly continue our bearish trend from. So from looking at the 4 hour, my bias is leaning towards bearish, right? If we break down from this area here, I don't want to go long into this zone here, trying to catch this move, right? So let's go down to the 1 hour, see if that agrees. So on the 1 hour, nothing new in comparison to the 4 hour. There's no new POI block there. That's that same 4 hour order block, I believe, around this zone here. So I don't need to draw that in as a 1 hour order block, right? All we have is the clear 1 hour leg as well. Okay, we can clearly show that we are in a premium of this leg here. So that's fine. Right, we've pulled back into this zone. What I'd be looking for, hopefully, was price to respect this zone here, right? But we could also see a bearish reaction come from a sweep of the buy side liquidity here. Right, ultimately, we could head up to that higher 4 hour POI. Right, but if we respect this and, like I said, break down on a lower time frame, I'll use this zone here from this premium of this 1 hour and 4 hour leg and 4 hour order block POI to continue that bearish leg to make a new trend, possibly going for a lower low. So at the moment we can see our most recent 1 hour candle is possibly showing signs of slowing down, right? Possibly showing signs that this resistance is working here. You can see we've got wicks on both sides. The candle body hasn't yet closed as an engulfing like those previous 2 hours. So we'll see what happens. So for me, again, the bias continues as a bearish bias from this zone here. However, if we don't respect this order block in terms of not taking out the buy side liquidity above the highs, then I would also use the buy side liquidity as well. If we break down from there, that doesn't exactly invalidate the bearish approach from here. So that's how I'll be looking at this area. So for me, the 1 hour and 4 hour agrees. I am just waiting for a switch of their structure on the lower time frame, preferably 15-minute. So let's go down to the M15. Let's see what that's looking like at the moment. So on the M15 here now, price is still very bullish in terms of we have not switched our order flow yet. We're making higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, and of course this part here very aggressively bullish. What I'll be looking for, and preferably it'll be on the M15, would be for us to create some structure here now, some obvious structure, create a higher low around here, then maybe a lower high, or even if it sweeps above this internal high again, that would be great. But if it doesn't, that's fine with me also. And then we break down, making a lower low, break of structure around here. We can then pull back to hopefully our order block and imbalance, right, where some momentum come into the market to then continue going lower, possibly around to this point here, wherever the structure takes us and my target is. So again, it would probably be more high quality if we sweep an internal high before that breakdown. Then we'll have internal buy side liquidity on side as well around this zone here. We'd have our break of structure around here, possible order block with imbalance left behind around here for price to pull back to where we would have our order set, stop loss just above that high. I would be aiming for 3%, which would be down towards that low, and it would look like this with possible inducement during a corrective pullback around there. So I hope that's clear. That's what I'll be looking for from this zone here. And as I said, price could just come up and sweep this order block as well and do something similar like that. So both would be fine for me. May get this earlier on the M5, but I would love to see an M15 switch just because of how aggressive we are this morning, and the M15 order flow hasn't changed. So I think that's everything for EU. Let's move on to GJ. So here on GJ on the daily, so far today, we're following suit as with EU, very bullish on pound versus the yen. We've blasted through our previous daily high. Price is very much an engulfing at the moment. I'm not sure where we're heading. We may be coming for these highs. There may be an internal resistance point. So we'll see when we go down to the lower time frame. However, if I zoom out and read price a bit more closely, it's possible we are heading higher in the overall picture. Since we rejected this imbalance zone here, we have come up quite high. We've swept the buy side liquidity above these highs. I don't want to make too much predictions, but we've got this potential high, high low, high high, high low, maybe go on to make a high high coming on to come back into even more of a premium towards these other POIs above in this large bearish daily leg. So this could all be part of a pullback to a higher POI before price maybe continues bearish. But there's a lot to read into at this point. We have taken some good buy side liquidity above here, right, which caused some bearish pressure early Jan, end of December. But at the moment it's too hard to tell. We may have found some support around this zone too. So we'll see how that goes in the future. But let's go down to the 4 hour. Let's see what that looks like for today. All right, so in terms of the 4 hour, I do think we still look initially bearish in this structure. I think we failed to make a higher high, maybe made equal highs, I'm not sure. Could have swept some buy side liquidity and began to break down again. You can see we've made some bearish legs, low, lower high around this zone here, rejecting this imbalance, lower low. Okay, so this could be just a complex leg and we're going to pull back to this premium bit here, but I don't want to read too far into that. At the moment we have this internal leg sort of thing going on here. We're back into a premium. 4 hour imbalance has been filled, fair value gap. I want to see if price shows some resistance here. So it's not too dissimilar from EU in terms of these legs, these bearish legs. As I said, high time frame picture, we could go higher. But again, we see if these resistances work out and if price breaks down or not. Okay, so maybe one to be patient with, but we do have these bearish price legs. So I'm leaning currently towards looking for some bearish moves here, right, from the 4 hour if we hold these zones and potentially more resistance around here. So we'll see what happens. So let's go down to the 1 hour. Let's see what that looks like. So I think the 1 hour backs up the 4 hour bias at this moment in time. We have a 1 hour order block around here just within that 4-hour fair value gap as well. So the 2 time frames have some possible resistance points that we may respect. Of course, this order block would look better if it was, say, the point that swept buy side liquidity like this one here and then broke down. So possibly we pull back deeper, we go above this 1 hour order block. But if we respect this leg here, this bearish 1 hour leg, and then begin to break down, there may be an argument still that we're going to continue that bearish order flow, right? So we'll see what happens. And as I said with EU, we could take the buy side liquidity and use that potentially for a short. Okay, so the 1 hour structure is bearish, 4 hour structure still looks bearish as well. We have resistance points here that price is currently respecting, right? We can see price another half an hour left, so we'll see how it goes. Price is losing a bit of momentum within this zone here. So again, I'll be waiting for that lower time frame breakdown to confirm that, preferably on the M15. So we'll see. So let's go down to M15. Let's see how that's shaping up. So I think the M15 looks nice. We also have the M15 order blocks here, right, which price is currently mitigating. Though, as I said with EU, we've got our bullish structure still, right? We've been making high highs, high lows on the M15, pulling back towards this premium high time frame POY. So my preference and what I would want to see is for price to then break down from here to give us the opportunity for some bearish moves. This may be like an M5 low, so maybe we'll have a look on the M5 as well here. But what I would want to see is price break down again, create a low, an obvious structural low like these here, then pull back, respect its high or potentially sweep it, and then break down, break of structure, really clear break of structure, and a pullback to the order block and source the origin of that momentum to go short. So that's what I'd be looking for. Again, it's a bit more high quality if we sweep liquidity first before this break of structure, because that sponsors that move. So that would be very nice if we get that break of structure around that zone here, leaving behind this order block with fair value gap there for price to pull back to, potential inducement if we have a corrective pullback, and we can set our orders stop loss just above the high, of course, to aim for wherever you want to aim for. Structural low, I'll just be aiming for around the 3% mark, and that's how my move would look. Right, same as on EU. On the M5, you may see that break down earlier because you have this low here, this fractal low that may break down first. All right, so a bit riskier, of course, but we have our high time frame resistances on side. So that's everything. I hope that was clear. Any questions, let me know in the comments. Remember to like and subscribe, and thanks for watching.